Mm. You know what I just realized is that I set this to go live for 1 hour earlier than we mean to. It's my mistake. So, even though I'm not supposed to go live for another 2 whole minutes, I had this scheduled almost an hour ago to go live. So, anyone was sitting around going, "Where's Brogan?" That's where I am. I made another mistake. How do I even run this show? See, if Carrie's not around, I just F it all up and don't know how to run the show. So here we are getting ready to go live. So I might as well put some picture in front of the screen and I'll push the button and we'll go live. It'll be a thing. There we go. There's one part. This will be so much better when I have like an intro video and all that kind of stuff. I love that it's just so janky right now. Hey Jane, hi Chloe. So this is just called under construction right now. It's just under construction. All we're doing is in between two shows. We're working on a new show called Play for Time, where it is basically how do you stay engaged in life as you get older. And I am so excited to bring that show. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Hi, Leslie. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think there's a lot of opportunity to kind of make fun segments and get some contributions. And I have our first Play for Time contribution today. I'm so excited too. It is so well edited, so well made. It's a vertical video, and I have not set up something to make a really good way to display or demonstrate a vertical video, by the way. So just like everything else I do on this show, that's going to be a little janky, but that's okay. It'll be fun. So I put my videos up into YouTube just for ease of use because using the onboard StreamYard, which by the way, they're a sponsor. Thanks, StreamYard. What we use when we try to download these videos into the actual StreamYard app, it doesn't like how big my videos are. So like size of file wise. So I've just been putting them on YouTube and saying, good enough for me. So why don't we dive in? Why don't I show you kind of what I've got? And let me just get over here and take a look at it. I have 4 different segments today. The first one's kind of about how I've been using the library to find and fuel the things that I'm interested in. So I'll start with that. Heading to the library, I'm going to get some library books. I get photography books out of the library because if I didn't, I'd go broke. They're like between $50 and $100 each on average. And if you look for something kind of really special or unique, those could be even more money. So thankfully, we've got a really good library system and it can borrow from all over Massachusetts. So I'm going to get some library books about photography. Hi, how are you? Well, let's take a look at a couple of these library books, shall we? Because I went to all that effort to make that clip for just to show you these books. Reason I take out library books is because I'm looking for things to give me inspiration. So this is The Americans. It's by a guy named Robert Frank. And what I like about it is there's a mix of some of the world's most famous people here. And then there's just regular people going about their lives. And what I love is just, this is a time when there wasn't any digital photography, so every one of these shots is film. He didn't know how it was going to turn out for some amount of time, and there's just all kinds of story being told in these bits, and some of these people, like I said, are famous. Some of these people are just workers out doing work. I love this sort of thing because this is what drives me. This is what makes me think there's something useful in every moment if you go looking for it. Like look at these people here kind of having their conversation. There's just something kind of worth it. So I like a book like this. I like a book that gives me something to consider. And using the library is great because it's free. It's a shared resource. I can bring it back. I mean, I think there's just so much fun, looking at this. This, by the way, is Slideshow, which is Helen Levitt. I'll think of her name for a second. Just look. I mean, look at this guy. Who wouldn't want to take this photo, right? Or this lady on roller skates. I didn't even notice the skates at first. Because look, there's a lot going on in this picture, right? I grew up in libraries. I grew up since very young childhood hanging out in them. So much so that when I was age 13, kids would call the library to find me. This was before cell phones. And so much so that I worked in a library. It was my first paying job. And I was a library page, which is the person who put away books. But I quickly wormed my way into circulation and even nosed my way around reference, which required you to have actual degrees to do, but they'd still let me do my best attempt at it. It's fun. It's fun to learn that way. And I use it to learn about my photography and, of course, the rest of the world as need be. What's not to love? I mean, how fun is it?
How do you know it's Chris Brooks?
So, I have this video because I don't know how to do things by myself, but there I go. I have so much joy in that. Like, for instance, this is one of the books in the video, Robert Frank, The Americans. Look at this picture. It's like such an imperfect, perfect picture. There's a person up in the window. There's a person covered by part of the American flag. It makes you think just interesting stuff. But you also, like, you get parts of history that you maybe wouldn't have considered. I like this one. This is probably some limo drivers for some people. And in a time where inequality was far more vividly obvious in our country. So I had a lot of fun shooting the little clip. I liked the John theme music, and I like this format, this ability to show you some things that I find are interesting or useful or whatever in such a way that I can share ways to keep us all engaged. So in doing this, in putting this show together and thinking about how I want to carry it forward, one of the things I begged for was, would people possibly consider putting in clips, 1 or 2 minutes, something like that? And I have our first contribution. And like I said a moment ago, it's a little janky because if vertical doesn't, I have to show you, like, I'll just be in the background looking awkward while this plays. But watch it, pay good attention. Our good friend Chloe Forbes Kinlan made this. It's 1 minute and 22 seconds. And I have played it maybe 1,000 times to myself. And now's your chance to get a chance to catch it and check it out.
There are days I feel painfully introverted, but I adore people. Vague wonderings, discussions that fill the kettle as it pours. So when I need to recharge, I slip away from crowded rooms. Walk until the birds are whistling a soundtrack, trees singing their lessons on how to change and change and change again. I write to someone I don't yet know. Seek out connection without the introduction. Take buses for the small talk that leads to some significance. Slip notes into books hoping someone will catch the echo. A moment shared in empty air like leaving behind a key no one asked for. It reminds me we're all on this shared journey, intertwined in one another's story. A blink, a glimpse, a line, I think, it all carries meaning beyond what we see. All playing for time in a world as complex as a 7-layer dip at a potluck everyone showed up for. Too delicious not to savor the laugh between bites. So today I inhale acceptance, exhale love, and tomorrow I am ready for the conversation to all begin again.
Thank you, Chloe. That was perfect. 1 minute, 22 seconds. So beautifully edited. So wonderful. Very grateful for that and that you put that out for us. That is so super cool. It was, what I liked about it was you had a wonderful narrative going. I couldn't get over the handwritten notes. What do you call those? Are those like, they look like price tags on, if you go to a boutique or something. I'm so fascinated by what that technology is. That's pretty cool. Good job, Chloe, says Leslie. I have a not as poetic next thing to show you, which is going to be about my current strange, weird obsession with vintage lenses. Carrie in the comments, boarding a plane somewhere in Europe somewhere. Hurry back. I'm going to show you something that I've been totally nerding out over, and it's vintage lenses. So I'm going to take us for a little walk in the woods, and we can see that together. Boo, 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 boo. Ten seconds. So I'm out here. I have my Sony a7 III, and I have this old vintage Nikon zoom on it. And what's cuckoo is it's manual, and when I'm saying old, it's not super old. It's not even 20 years old. Some of my lenses are from 1961 because I got into vintage lenses. I don't know what happened to me. I used to just take photos. I used to not care. I used to just use whatever was probably newest, best, whatever. Wind? But now I am doing other stuff. Because this is a manual focus lens, I'm using something called Peak Assist, which says that everything that is red is in focus. In this case, the whole shot is pretty much in focus. So that's not much of an example, but it just shows you how you have to do something different when you're using a manual lens. There's a couple reasons why I like doing this with vintage lenses. The photography is a little more fun because I have to kind of wrestle with everything a little bit more. But what else I like about it is that you can get crazy lenses that used to be worth thousands of dollars for like $100, and they're still the quality that made them $1,000 years ago. And all you have to do is put a little bitty adapter on your camera. I'll show you a little bit of that stuff when we get back home. Hi. A modern lens is fine. This is the 55-200 on my Fujifilm. Nothing wrong with the lens, but it sure is a little different than like the way classic lenses were made, isn't it? Like, look at the difference in the build. It's just different. So what makes this kind of fun to me is that these vintage lenses don't cost a lot. Like, I got this one. This is a 56mm lens from like 1961. And I got this for like $55. And it's beautiful. It shoots really nice pictures. Manual focus, everything is manual because I'm attaching lenses from other systems onto a different one. But it's fun. This is another Nikon lens. This is an 85mm portrait lens. And again, I think I got it for $80. No, I think I might have got this one with another lens for $80. So it's crazy that you could kind of get these great prices on what used to be very expensive top of the line lenses and that are still in pretty great shape for what you use them for. So I guess where I'm going with all this is that it's just fun that you can do something like just shoot pictures if you want. Bloom, bloom, bloom. Take pictures of your kids, your dogs, your whatever, landscapes, ducks, whatever the thing is you want to shoot. Or you can get like cuckoo bananas and want the most expensive cameras in the world. Or you can think, wow, this is so neat and weird and quirky, vintage lenses. I have a lens that was made in the Ukraine in the 1960s, 70s, and 80s. That's a ripoff of a Carl Zeiss lens that the Soviets cloned, and not Carl Zeiss, but the style of lens. And that is coming all the way from Kazakhstan and should arrive in a couple of weeks. It's also a lens that they used on the newer Robert Pattinson Batman movie for a couple of the scenes. Isn't that crazy? That's the thing. That's the thing I think is kind of interesting. I'm just sharing with you because it's a special interest. But the most important thing, obviously, is what do the pictures look like out of a lens like one of these classic lenses? Well, here's a few I took back in the woods. Kind of neat, right? That was fun just because it's a passion of mine. It's fun to do, and it's not especially expensive given that there's so much more expensive technology that you could buy, but it's so interesting. Annette, by the way, Annette, your comments are still not coming into StreamYard. I don't know if maybe there's some setting that we did, over in LinkedIn. Maybe you didn't give it permission or something. So I keep seeing Annette's comments, but only if I go to LinkedIn to look for them. So I apologize. I don't know what's going on. Joanne says, I remember paying $400 for a Nikon zoom lens back in 1981. Yeah, and this is the lens in that video, and it's like this, watch it do its zoom thing or whatever. It's huge, and it's a classic old-timey lens. And then this part right here, where it says Earth, this is the adapter that connects it to my Sony camera. And this costs like 30-ish bucks. So I can then put these crazy old-timey lenses on. It's just fun. It's just kind of a fun way to expand a hobby, because what it does, this is the play for time part of that. What it does is this makes me slow down. It makes me keep my phone in my pocket, because, if you're working with a lens and you're turning it and you're trying to get your focus and all that sort of stuff, the word focus is built into the process, right? You have to stop doing other things. You cannot be tweeting at the same time. So it is a strange experience that, like, it's very interesting that you can kind of go and go this deep should you want. So, well, now look at that. Chloe runs over to LinkedIn to comment there as well. So that's pretty fun. That's great. So it's fun because I like that in this format we can talk, we can sort of interact, we can think about some stuff. So I'll put up another video for you. This one is talking a little bit about Black Friday. And Joanne and I had a little conversation about this already on, I think, LinkedIn or something like that. But I'll put this on for you. Dang it. We get the thing, then we want the new thing, then we want the better thing. And I just went through. Craig, look what I've gone and done to you. Craig shows up for the first time to the show, hasn't known that we've been doing this like all the time since 2020, and I F it up. Sorry, Craig. Let's start over. Well, so I decided I would see if I could shoot a video of myself using my Fujifilm camera, which I think I've pushed the video button maybe twice. And just to make it crazier, I'm using the little mobile app to at least hit the record button. So we'll see how it turns out. That was kind of what I was thinking about when I decided I was going to make this video was, we have all these capabilities in anything we own that we almost never use, right? Like, we think we need something more or other or better, especially when we first get into something. Like, we really want, we get the thing, then we want the new thing, then we want the better thing. And I just went through this. I went through this from beginning to end. And so I kind of thought maybe it'd be an interesting topic to cover. One of the things I bought was the Sony a6000. This is a camera from, I think, 2014. It shoots 24 megapixels. It's an APS-C crop sensor. It is perfect. It does everything just fine. It's pocketable. You kind of need a bigger pocket, but it's pocketable. It works fine. So then why did I get a Fujifilm? Why did I get any of the other cameras that I've got? I have bought and sold 6 or so cameras over the last 6 or so months. This one was fine. But then we start thinking, I need the bigger and better one. I need a full frame camera. I need whatever. And this isn't just about photography. It's just about stuff. Black Friday is coming. I am seeing so many Black Friday sales, which in the US is the day after Thanksgiving. And oh my gosh, the sales are just everywhere. Now, if the thing to think about is if it's something you really want and you've been thinking about it and you've been waiting and there's a better way to do it, great. But here's what I think. One recommendation I have for you is if you're considering buying something for Black Friday, ask yourself, does it make the enjoyment or the performance of whatever it is I'm trying to do better? Or is it just kind of more? Is it better or more? And I think that might be the dividing line to think about, because I don't think we should not buy new things. I think we should only buy new things only when we're sure it's going to make something better, or we have a good idea that it's going to make something better. We don't need, look at the other ways you could use the same money, right? I could buy a brand new lens, or I can fly somewhere and take some cool photos and videos that I wouldn't take another way. I think with all of our lives, what we have to start asking isn't just, am I willing to pay X for this thing, but is this thing more important or more interesting than that thing? Because the other thing I started thinking about, this is really weird. I was thinking, for the price of like a couple of lenses and a couple other things that I think in my head I want, I could replace my shower and have an amazing shower every day instead of the okay shower I have now. Is that better? I don't know. Not to me, but maybe it is to you. So it's just a way to think about it. Do I want better? Do I want more? And then the third and final one, is this going to make something else in my life better? Or could I use the money in a different way? Just a thought. I'm not anti-capitalism. I am a total capitalist. But I am trying to get smarter about it. I'm trying to be a little more precise and deliberate in where I spend my money. What about you? What about you? That's the question, isn't it? No, I'm very curious. I think that with Black Friday pretty much upon us next week, where are we going to go with all this, By the way, Craig was commenting, and I didn't want to put it over that video because no one would have a clue what we were talking about. But he said, it was following you years ago that made me take my master's degree in marketing. Oh my gosh, that's a terrifying sentence. Well, but congratulations on higher education and also a bachelor's of engineering degree in computing. That might be better. Good for you, though. Craig says about Black Friday, I made a list of things I have my eye on, and then I take a look and I delete them from my list. Yeah, that's actually a pretty clever way to do that. I like that idea a lot, because you certainly putting something on the list, on the Amazon list, for instance, definitely gives you some time to kind of mull it over. I've been doing that a lot more than I've been pushing the buy. That's for sure. Joanne says, it's all about the experience. Steve Jobs was right. Craig says, I'm 55 years old and I'm now retired after helping small businesses with their strategies in Scotland for free. Chloe's in Scotland. congratulations, retired at 55. I'm not going to be retired anytime in my lifetime. Annette says, oh, by the way, look, I got a net. I don't know what changed or how this works, but now I have a net. Yes, and before buying, what is the cost in energy and time in addition to better? Well, that's another whole thing, isn't it? You know, what's the fuss going to be that goes with it? And that's a whole topic on its own, isn't it? Who knows? Maybe we'll dig into that a little bit more. Do you have time for one more? I've got one more for you. I was a little prolific this week. I think probably because my co-host wasn't around, so I just was wandering around making videos. This one is about a little hobby that I've picked up, a habit. I could pretty much cancel my streaming services at this point. Hey, would you look at that? It's the magic man himself, Jason Croft. This is about a hobby that I've picked up because I just haven't been watching a whole lot of streaming. I don't know. I'm like my kids. I much prefer YouTube these days. So I'm going to show you a little video I made about what I've been doing with my time over there. I've been meaning to make a video about this for a real hot minute. I have been on a journey, a very fun one for me, where I've been going around and subscribing to really small YouTube channels. I myself have a really small YouTube channel. I have 5,500 people. I've been on YouTube for 1 billion years, and I see people who are like, I was here for 2 months and I only have 30,000. I decided I would go looking for people who had 2,000 or fewer. Now, I subscribe also to some huge channels, but I am spending more and more time on people who are sub 1,000. Sometimes the first 100, the first 80 people on their channel, I'm one of them. And it's all around photography because that's something I'm interested in right now. But what I do is I just go there to be a community member. I go there to comment, to participate, to listen, to watch their shows. I am enjoying the heck out of this. And I thought I'd share some of the people that I've been going to see. If you're interested in photography, maybe you'll find some enjoyment in them too. There's Lashmar the Street Thief. Lashmar is, he's got a wonderful channel. He talks a lot about street photography, about life, about different ways to take on challenges. He does lots of great photo work out on the streets. He takes part in all kinds of workshops. I love his stuff. Developing Tank. I'm going to be able to say I knew this guy when. He goes and he takes photo books. He reads. I looked at my photo books because that's his fault. I get a lot of them out of the library based on what I read on his channel. And he does really deep dives, like documentary level deep dives about really interesting photographers and whatnot. Artie Lee. I love watching his minimalism, landscape type work, incredible stuff. Hunter creates things. He's got more people. There's some people that I really love that I won't put on this particular list just because they don't have, they have massive audiences, so they don't need me to talk about them. And I'm sure I'm going to forget a few of these people by name at least, but I go every day for some amount of time every day and watch for new videos from these people. I'm subscribed to all these people. I comment. I try to do everything I can to push the YouTube algorithm up and say, this is also interesting. You should check this out. I'm going to put a few of these in the video just so you can see them as well. I just wanted you to know that this is another way that we can all do something and contribute to someone's channel and their success and their happiness just by giving them some time, writing a nice, thoughtful comment. Artie Lee, I'll give you an example. The couple episodes of his show ago, at the time of the recording, his lens tipped over, his whole kit tipped over because wind blew his tripod or whatever. And it was rough. It was an emotional moment. It was a lot of money just falling down into the muck. And it was hard. And I wanted to make sure that he knew that, that happens and it's okay. And it's what happens to any of us. And I just wanted to be there. And I think that's what I've been enjoying. I've been enjoying being there. I just wanted to share that with you in case you wanted to do a similar project, except for the thing that you're interested in. Go find people, connect with some of these smaller, sub 5,000 people channels and connect and talk and comment and like. do everything that they say on every single video. Make sure you like and subscribe, but you do it for them. Just be there. And that was the last of the videos. So I really appreciate you watching them with me. Craig says, expanded my joy by then seeing that they're coming to a small venue near me, and then I buy the ticket. Oh, I missed the one above. I love going to find new artists and whatever. Yes, this is another thing I'm super into. I'm into one of my favorite bands right now is an Indian heavy metal band from Delhi called Bloodywood. And my oldest child and I are planning to go see them in London in March of next year. They're a little bit bigger than Little at this point, but they're a completely independent band. They just did their own thing. So did a lot of things today on the show. This one doesn't have the same kind of ending as the backpack show. So who knows how we're going to end it, when I get the real thing put together, when I get all the pieces of Play for Time put together. But you were here with me. I was here with you. We did some stuff. I'm going to push this thing, get on out of here, go do other stuff.